Dual pixel autofocus. By now, you've heard about it. You know that it works great. You know that it's available on cameras like the Canon EOS R, the 5D Mark IV, the C200, the C300 Mark II, the C300 original, I believe, also had dual pixel autofocus as an upgrade. And it works really, really well. There are multiple versions of dual pixel autofocus that allow you to decide what it is that you want to set as a priority, whether it be a product shot or people. And where I find it the most interesting is when you set it for continuous autofocus, you turn face tracking on, and then you select face only, like this. So check this out. I'm not in frame, and the focus plane locked, which means it didn't hunt or go all the way to the background. I get back in the frame, and the camera is going to find my face. And then it begins to make adjustments based on whether, in fact, I am or am not moving. And to show this, I'm going to make sure that I record this also on my Atomos Ninja 5, Ninja V, if that's how you want to say it, so that we can actually see what the camera is doing while it is utilizing face only, not face priority, but face only. And the camera that we're using is not the Canon C200. It's the Canon C300 Mark II, because this setting is available on both cameras. And truth be told, it may be available on more than just these two cameras. It may be available on the Canon C700, which I have not personally used. And it may also be available on something like the C100 Mark II, which again, I have not personally used. So with that, just know that these settings may apply. And if you have that camera and you can actually verify that these settings in fact exist on those other cameras, please make sure that you leave a comment so that we can all know and learn as we go along. But what I want to do now is I want to show you how it is that you actually set the settings on the Canon C300 Mark II so that you can get this effect where it is tracking a face, and the minute that the face is not in frame, the focus plane is locked and it does not go to the background because it comes in clutch. It is really, really handy. So let's take a look at the menus and let's see just how good I am at navigating the menus when they're flipped, because I'm going to be in front of the camera and I'm going to be using the joystick and the menu button on the back of the camera. So let's give this a shot and see how it works out. So we're now looking at the menus, and I'm going to go to the first menu, which is camera setup. I'm going to then go down to focus, moving the camera here a bit. And under focus, autofocus mode, I have it set to continuous. In case you're curious, these are the other options. One shot, autofocus boosted, which is manual focus, and then continuous. In order for this to work, it has to be set to continuous. And then for auto frame position, I just use selectable because if I'm not doing my own tracking, I want to be able to move my focus area so that I can focus on what I want to. My autofocus frame size, I always select small so that it is more accurate based on what it is that I'm actually selecting to be in focus. My face detect and tracking, that setting needs to be set to on. So as long as that is set to on, we're already in good shape. And then from that, we go to face autofocus. And as you can see here, I have face only selected. Now your options are face priority. And let me show you what that looks like. Just exit out of here. So in face priority, it should catch my face just like it did now. But watch what happens the minute that I am no longer in the frame. You see that? It went to the background. So it's focusing on where that block is, so that when I come back in the frame, it then needs to readjust to me instead of locking in to that focal plane that I want the camera to stay at. And this is why it's actually better. I'm going to change the focal plane to the actual bokeh lights that are in the background so that you guys can see just how dramatic that is. Obviously, I think I made a point, right, showing you in the beginning that it works really, really well. But I just want to kind of do that. So 1 second. So to do this, I'm going to use my joystick and I'm going to select what I want the camera to focus on. And I have my red camera there in the background. Okay, so this is now face priority. And as you can see with face priority, you're able to select what it is that you want the camera to focus on when you're not in frame. The challenge really is that when you come back to the frame, it's going to take a minute for the camera to find your face again. And that's why I don't like face priority. I much prefer face only. So check this out. You get out of frame, and eventually here, based on my autofocus settings, it will then slowly focus, because those are the settings I'm using, on the background where that box is. When I come back into the frame, I need to force the camera to pay attention to me so that I can then come back into focus. Otherwise, wherever that box is, that's what it's going to try to focus on. And I know it says face priority and it should always focus on faces, but I'm going to tell you that based on your lighting, depending on how flat the lighting is, depending on whether there is enough contrast in the scene and in the person's skin, you see what's happening? It's going to jump back. So like, it shouldn't have done that. And that's the reason why you'd want to use face only. Or if you're going to use face priority, then you can't ask the camera to do this rack focus thing. You need to set your focus plane, or the box anyway, where the talent is going to be standing, which is kind of where I'm at now. And then that will allow for that gap between where the camera thinks it should be focusing and the face detect or face priority to actually take place. And in theory, when the face priority is engaged, like it is right this second, if an object crosses in front, the focal plane should not change. See that? But if you wanted to, and you just flat out block it, then it will focus. Then the face comes back. But that's where that little square is. And you can see in my settings, it's set to do it very slowly, try to simulate someone actually pulling focus for me. But that's not really what we want, because we have people that, bob and weave sometimes when we're doing interviews. And that's why I like to do the face only. So let's switch back to face only so that we could see what that actually looks like. And I'm going to go menu again. Again, camera setup is where we want to be. And then I'm going to go down to focus. Whoops, too far. Focus, continuous is fine. This is also fine. Face detect tracking on. And instead of face priority, you want face only. And then when you're done with that, just come back out. And now what will happen is once the camera locks onto my face, and again, I have it set so that it does this gradually, not like zooming straight up and into it. You see, now it locked. And now, if I leave the frame, nothing happens. My background remains the exact same background. There is no hunting, which is what annoys a lot of us, especially when someone is shooting with really, really shallow depth of field, where the depth of field is maybe an inch or two or less if you have really fast glass and you are really close to the camera. But I just thought I'd share this with you guys, because if you don't use it already and you haven't tried it, it's something that you want. And like I said, it's available. I know for a fact it's available on the Canon C200, but it is also available on the Canon C300 Mark II. So what do you guys think? Do you think that face only dual pixel autofocus is better? Or do you think that the way that Sony does it, or Panasonic, I guess, if they have does Panasonic have autofocus? I don't know. Are there any other autofocus systems that you guys really like and would like to see covered? If you do, make sure you leave a comment. And I've seen a lot of chatter with the release of the Canon 1DX Mark III regarding which camera is right for me, and should I buy the C200 instead of the 1DX Mark III? And there's this whole debate thing going, right? Well, I'm going to tell you, I already made that choice and I've decided which camera it is that I'm going to end up with. And if you want to see a video, be sure to let me know. And if you don't, the other button also works, so knock yourself out. Till next time, I'm Carlos with Media IQ, helping you guys compete in today's web economy. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Take care.
Tell everybody, everyone we know, we ain't got time for that today. 'Cause we got somewhere we're about to go. Big dreams that take us far away.